Hi, Martina.
Hi, Matheo. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. Ah,
Let me
it's been,
just
it's been a
refresh.
while. I feel like it was yesterday that I met you at Adobe during that whole Adobe week for the live letter hunt that you hosted. Um, tell
I,
us about that. What is the live letter hunt?
oh, Matteo, you were one of the highlights of my trip to LA.
Oh,
It was in October that I visited Adobe Max, and I decided to take designers, a group of designers, to discover the beautiful heritage that you have in the city of LA, like the beautiful typographic heritage. So I took you to downtown LA, which is one of my favorite cities in the entire world, because in one street you have tons of vernacular signs that are original, that are old and beautiful, and they still work. And we walked together through those streets, and we were like nerding about all these different
totally nerding out about all
yeah,
this.
we all nerded out, and we were kind of like pointing out at the different things, the different features of each sign, and it was super interesting, and we had such a good experience all together. And then we went together to have a beer, to a bar, and to
Sweet.
mingle a little bit, and continuing to nerd out. So yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, Martina Flor is an award-winning lettering designer, and she's worked on so many big projects. And I'm just honored and humbled to be joined by her today. Not only that, she does building communities around lettering and letterform lovers and
Mm.
designers. And she releases tons of helpful workshops. She's also an author of The Golden Secrets of Lettering, which we reviewed on our Type Thursday Book Club. So if you haven't seen that on Type Thursday Book Club, we go live every Tuesdays and we review a different book. I was so inspired, Martina, by The Golden Secrets of Lettering and what you've done. Just like when we did the letter walk, I saw your passion. I saw your love for letter forms really come to life in front of me. And it was because of my friends Michael Mondragon and Jenny Familicardo. They both invited me separately, not knowing they were going. And they're like, hey, Mateo, I think you'd be interested in this. And I got it like one after the other. And I was like, okay, I really got to go. So I booked my ticket right then. I had heard about you and seen some of your Instagram posts, but I didn't realize how much I would love like meeting you and seeing you in person and just getting inspired by just your love for letter forms and like your passion for seeing them in the wild. And you're right, like downtown LA has so much good letters in the wild, like Art Deco style, right? And the neon and the Broadway section, and just there's so much happening there for design. That was a special moment. Yeah, yeah. I was so happy that I got to meet you that day, right before Adobe Next.
Yeah, me too. One of the things that I love about, sharing my expertise in lettering design, in different formats, in this live with you, in that type walk in LA, in the guides that I share, in the books that I write, is that I love sharing with others and giving them the lens of typography. I feel that for me that changed everything as a designer. As you know, I'm originally a graphic designer, and I used to do all kinds of stuff. I used to design logotypes, do branding, design brochures, and all that stuff. And at some point, I discovered lettering, and I felt that it gave me a lens through which I see the world and through which I create work. And I feel that if I can pass on other people that lens, that really opens a world of possibilities for you, not only in terms of the work that you can do, but also in the things that you start noticing. Once you put on the glasses of typography, you cannot take them off anymore. And
True.
I bet that after that type walk with you in LA, you see things around you differently. You are much more critical about, letter forms and the way they're designed, and you now think about like what was the decision making when the person who created a logotype did that, or the person who created this lettering on this facade created that, and I love passing that on to other people. So I'm glad that you invited me here to this live so that we can share that love with others, and pass on that lens to those watching.
Yes, and you're so right. I was dramatically changed after the letter walk with you. So if Martina, if you do that again, y'all in the crowd, you better sign up. If you see Martina in your town doing a live letter hunt, you have to go because she's so right. I was drastically transformed. Ever since I've been walking around LA, taking my phone out and capturing photos and videos of good and bad signs where I'm just like, oh, that got me to react. Like that's really bad. Like that baseline is they it wasn't even an intentional baseline drop. They just hung it wrong when I'm like taking photos of it. And these are some like expensive installments and they spent a lot of money on the build for like a nice restaurant, but then they went, and just hung this letters very haphazardly. And other times too, like when they did the Wicked event, they did like a big activation at the Grove, and the neon signs at the Grove were all lit up, and like the whole synced. It was synchronized to like this marionette banner that they had, and it was just amazing. Like the colors, the lights, it was so theatrical. So I took video of that. And I've been kind of collecting this video archive, which I was secretly hoping at some point we'll be able to go and do like an episode or something where I can play for you the videos I've shot in the wild and we can kind of just review LA again remotely until you fly out here again. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea. And I love also that this experience inspire you to go around and notice things. I think this is one of
Yeah.
the main things that we as designers and creatives, we need to pay attention to. You know, the things that you pay attention to are the things that then come out in your work. I always say that we are constantly absorbing inspiration in the shape of colors, shapes, structures and compositions. And you already going out there and collecting that is creating some sort of like library of inspiration that is very personal. It's very yours. It's very Matteo, and it's yours, and it's gonna come out in your work. The moment you sit down to draw letter forms, Matteo, you're gonna, all these things that you have been collecting in your phone, but also in your head, are gonna come out in terms of like that uniqueness and that unique source of inspiration that is yours and yours only.
Wow. Thank you for saying that. And it's exactly what you wrote in your book too, is to
Yeah.
create letter form library for yourself for an
Mm.
archive. And it was funny because as I was reading that from the Golden Secrets, I was also like, oh, I'm already doing that. I should keep doing that. And I also hadn't really organized it yet. So I do need to go back and like put it all into a single album now, and just like have that there. But it's been something that I just naturally picked up since you had that curiosity, that walking in the wild through downtown LA and getting inspired by all that stuff. And right before Adobe Max, so if, for those who weren't there, they're in the days after the letter hunt. Martine and I bumped into each other again when I was taking the stage for karaoke, and I'm like, Martina, as I was like getting up there on stage.
That was amazing. And Mateo, you
So
killed it. You killed it.
thank you.
Mateo
Uh,
went on stage in Adobe Max, and which is a conference. It was like the room was full of people, and you did a karaoke. In which song did you sing?
What's Up by Four Non Blondes.
Oh
Class.
yeah, you give it all. I was like, woo, Mateo.
The whole audience. I had a friend take a video. You took a video. People were sending that back to me. So it was just great to like see the room so inspired. And mind you, we're in a room full of designers who are all probably the most picky and like hard to please people. So the fact that everyone was singing along and just having fun, that felt like the power of creativity, the power of joy and like connectivity and like why we get together and do these events.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was such a beautiful moment. I hope next time you're in LA, you let me know so we can do some fun activations while we're out here.
I will
Yeah.
comment that.
Yes, and we can invite the Type Thursday family because we've got a big community of Type Thursday friends and fam all around the city. We've been doing events every month basically and activating Pasadena, which has its own history. Activating West Hollywood has a ton of neon signs, especially at night. It's so fun to see. There's beautiful installments to see during the day, and then at night it's a whole nother city. And there's just so many cool letter forms and designs around LA. But I kind of want to pivot now because as I've been keeping up with you, Martina, you have a really interesting part of your story that a lot of people I think would resonate with. And that's that there's a real struggle. Looking at your massive success that you have now, that did not come without first this struggle that you had to encounter. And it's hard to imagine you ever doubting yourself looking at all the amazing things that you're doing now. I mean, your work is beautiful. From the big ampersand to the color choices, to the brand choices, yes, to the designs that you keep pushing out. I'm like, looks like someone who never doubted themselves. It looks like you've just been at this for so long. But you say that you've almost quit before and walked away from design altogether. So can you take us back to that moment that you were feeling this way and like talk us through why? What were you feeling?
Yeah. So I started, like you, like many of the people in your community, I started as a generalist graphic designer. And I was doing all kinds of things. And I was, I actually did pretty well as a designer. I pretty quickly went up the ladder of graphic design and became a creative director. And I started feeling that my work was missing the creative side of it. Like I was spending most of the time in meetings and kind of like talking to teams and not, the work that I was doing was missing the me element and some sort of authorship that I always envisioned in my work. So what I did at that time was that in the nights I would come back from a day of work and we'll sit down to draw, and I would draw a lot of different stuff. And one of those things were letter forms. At that time, I didn't have any idea that this was called lettering. That was 15 years ago, over 15 years ago. So at that time, I was doing things very intuitively, and I was drawing letter forms, drawing a lot of different things. And I would just dedicate 3 hours of my day in the nights to do something that felt creative for me. And then next day I would just go to work and would do the same thing over and over again. And at some point I started asking myself, like, what if these 2 hours that I spend every night and that I really enjoy, what if this will become my entire day and people would pay me for doing this thing that I think I'm actually like getting a feel of, like I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to get better at it. So what I decided at that time is to double down on this. I needed to see this through, and I decided to quit my job, sign up for a letter design course. At that time was like the closest to what I wanted to do, which was a type design course in the Netherlands. So I'm originally from Argentina. So I traveled overseas. I moved to the Netherlands for 1 year to pursue this course, and that changed everything for me. That was really a pivotal moment in my career, because either I would have left design completely, or I would just double down on this. And I found in letter design a perfect overlap between two things that I really loved, which is like design and self-expression. I feel like something special about lettering is that you're not drawing anything like everything or whatever. Like you're drawing letter forms, and that gives you a framework, that gives you a system. You're not just drawing whatever. You need to draw something that is legible, that carries a message, and therefore you can have already some sort of a briefing. And I love that you can then, on top of that system, which is the alphabet, because you always work with a set of letter forms when you're drawing lettering. On top of that structure, you can bring on your own creativity, your own self-expression. Mm-hmm. So you can bring your voice. And I love that overlap between, systems, design systems, and that space for self-expression that lettering allows. And this is where things, I never look back. Once I found that overlap, yeah, I decided like I want to go down this road and I want to build a career in this. And this is, after that experience in the Netherlands, I decided to stay in Europe and move to Berlin, where I live now, and start a business in lettering design. And yeah, I've been in the business for over 15 years. So yeah. I'm glad that I took that decision back then, to double down on that thing that in the moment seemed like, something that I did for fun. And once I doubled down on that skill, I became really good at it. And that allowed me to build confidence and and once you have that confidence, you start, feeling confident enough to charge for it and to pursue clients and to look for client work and to go out there and talk about it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a powerful story. Like just to reflect back some of the points that I'm hearing is it's like you started as a graphic design generalist. That's definitely where a lot of our community is from Type Thursday. And people I'm hearing right now are having this feeling of being stuck in their career and kind of wanting to give up or looking for things and applying and not finding stuff or being where they're at and been there for years and just not feeling fulfilled and wanting to find a specialization or something. Then you've got the changes with AI and everything, and it's just kind of created this moment of, well, what is something that is special and it's making with your hands. It's making getting back to things that are like crafted, right? Like the human craft. So I feel like there's a great overlap here. And you kind of touched on this already, but you talked about that like aha moment. I was going to ask you like what changed, what shifted in your mindset and what reignited your passion and brought you to lettering. Like what was that?
Yeah. Well, what shifted in my mindset, it was that I, I stopped trying to figure things out on my own, and I started like really doubling down on developing a skill and creating work that I was really proud of. I feel that, as creatives, our creativity, our the work that we create is our superpower. This is the thing, this is the product we sell our clients, this is what people base us for. And this is very important for creatives, because if you are able to get paid for what you do, it means that you will continue doing that thing you love, and so it's not minor, this thing of like being able to get paid for it. And this is why this is something I talk about with in my workshops. Even if it's a workshop about lettering, I always touch on the business side of things, because it's not only about developing a skill, it's also about putting that skill, putting that work in front of other people, so that people can see it, so that it becomes visible, so that people hires you to do the work you love. Um, so I think that is what shifted for me when I started like really doubling down on that skill, really building a portfolio. When I
Yeah.
stopped, kind of practicing in the shadows and became and turned into like behaving as a professional. So starting and finishing my projects, really building that portfolio project by project, even if they were like self-initiated projects, that really made a difference in my success, in my possibility to then build a career with it. Because I was able to early on build a portfolio where I could show people what I was able to do. And this is the main tool. One of the main assets that you have as a creative is like telling people and sending a clear message to the world of what you're able to do and what is the work that you're pursuing. So I think that was the biggest shift, to decide that I was going to take this seriously and to, behave as a professional before even being a professional. So that made a difference for me.
Wow, that's so powerful. You're talking about a lot of the points we just read from the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by
Yeah,
Stephen Covey. And if you've ever did you ever read that book?
I believe I did. I believe I did. Yeah.
And you're touching on those same points of these, like in the very beginning, he says you have to go through a paradigm shift where you change the way you look at the world around you and the way
Mm,
you look at yourself. And you've got to get out of this. Well, these are the things that I am thinking about that I have no control over, and shift to these are the things that I can do that I do have control over. And therefore, a little bit at a time. It's like I can reach what's in front of me and I can knock over that one domino that will then knock over the other ones. And it
mm,
sounds like that was the portfolio. It sounds like it was lettering. It sounds like it was taking a workshop, which is kind of a perfect pivot, I think, too, to this next section. There's definitely a lot of designers out there. If you're watching this, you probably feel the same way. You've been stuck in your career, you don't know what's next, you're in that struggle phase, and you might feel uninspired or unsure, and you're looking for different skills to develop. So right now, I want to say, like, first, before we pivot, is like, what would be one piece of advice that you would give those people who are struggling today, Martina?
Yeah. So make that shift. If you have been, flirting with a certain skill, if you have been keeping your work in the shadows, and you want to see that through, and you want to see whether that can become part of your work, is if that's lettering for you, if you have been playing around with lettering and drawing letter forms, and you're wondering, like, is this something for me? Is this something that could become part of my work? Make that shift of starting behaving like a professional before you are even a professional. So start like starting and finishing the projects that you begin. Make yourself little briefings, create real things. And when I say create real things, create things that you put out there. There is a shift that happens to you when you start showing your work to other people. You start getting feedback, you start seeing the reaction of other people to your work, and that keeps you going. So stop creating in the shadows and start showing the world what you're capable of doing.
Oh, I love that. Stop creating and start showing what you're doing.
Oh
That's
yeah.
powerful. Yeah, so powerful. Um, and I know you're also incredibly passionate about helping other designers. You release a lot of content that helps support learning and analyzing the world around you. Analyzing things like the TED logo. I love that. And the Adobe logo. I didn't realize there were so many design tips inside of those logos that we could learn from. So seeing stuff like that. So be sure to follow Martina Flor if you aren't already. Um, but this is also a good point for us to talk about that, getting over those roadblocks that you're facing. So if you've been stuck in your career and you're looking for something, this might be it. We have the free uh, lettering design roadmap workshop coming up March 23rd. Tell us, who is this for, and what are you going to be teaching, Martina?
So the lettering design roadmap workshop series is a free workshop that I offer every year, just once a year, and it's a week with live sessions
A whole week.
the entire week. So we have sessions every other day,
Oh,
and in these sessions, I walk you through the process or the roadmap to develop an expertise like lettering design. And throughout this series of workshops, we go deep into what it takes to develop a skill like lettering design. What is a roadmap that you need to follow? What is the stage in which you are in, so that you know exactly how to move forward, what's next for you, what to practice next, which is something that keeps a lot of designers stuck. It's like they look at their work and it's like, okay, I did this, but what do I do next? What do I need to be practicing? Do I need to be developing my own style? Do I need to be trying different styles? Do I need to be looking at calligraphy? So in this workshop, we give you a lot of clarity around, or I give you a lot of clarity around what is it that it takes to develop an expertise like lettering. And these workshops are so powerful because a lot of designers come together, and it's a global community of designers that come together to learn. People like you who are passionate about letter forms, typography, and we all come together and we just geek around lettering design, and we really learn a lot. And designers get a lot of value out of this series. It's a free series of workshops, and it happens once a year. And anybody can join. If you have been flirting with lettering, if you have been doodling and you're just starting, this workshop is for you. If you have been doing lettering for a while and you don't know how lettering fits in your professional career, you should join as well. This will give you clarity around what is the entire roadmap that it takes one person from scratch, learning the skill, all the way to building a professional career in lettering design. So it's starting on Monday, March 23rd, and
no,
it's going
next Monday.
next Monday, and it's going all the way until Monday, March 30th. So I'm gonna
Wow.
meet you there, hopefully, many of you.
Yes. If you're interested in the workshop, you can type nods because we've been nodding along this whole time in the comments below, and I will drop you a link. And or you could also tap the link in my bio and sign up for the workshop there. And yeah, we hope to see you there. It's coming up next Monday. And if you've been again struggling in your career, if you've been a little bit bored at work, if you've been feeling like
Mm,
you want to try something different because you're a little bored of the generalist thing, and you're
mm,
lacking some direction, give this a try. You know, it's I think a lot of folks kind of aren't sure that they'd be into lettering, but
mm.
the moment I got into typography through the Type Thursday community, and it was
Yeah.
really Chris Chin, a great mentor of mine. She was running Type Thursday at that time in LA, and she pulled me in and she was like, "You should present sometime." And I was like, "Wait, no, 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 I don't know enough." And she's like, "That's the purpose. Like we learn through presenting and sharing work and giving feedback to each other every month." And I was like, wait, this is every month? Okay, I'm coming back. And I fell in love. Like my whole career, I felt like my whole design trajectory changed when I started
Mm.
to learn about letter forms and design and typography. That's a whole nother subject that we just didn't cover in school. And
Yeah.
that, yeah, changed my world. So I think
And I
it's
would
cool.
love to add something to this. I think this is so powerful what you're saying right now, because I always say that knowing how to draw letter forms makes you a better designer. So even if you're not planning on dedicating your career to become a lettering designer, already understanding how letter design works, how a letter form is built, how spacing works, how structure works, that already makes you a better designer. Designers that can draw letter forms are better designers because they're keen for shape, for polish. They are able to see things that other designers don't. And nowadays, that makes a big difference. Nowadays, where templates and automation is everywhere, and everything kind of starts to feel like it looks the same. Being able to customize something, being able to create something that is unique, that has attention to detail, really makes a difference. So if you're a designer who thinks like, well, lettering is not for me, I tell you, if you learn how to draw letter forms, it will make you a better designer, and a better branding expert, a better logotype designer, a better designer at anything that you do. It will make you a better designer.
That is so true because I was working in the tech startup space, doing user interface design, and I had worked on this product, and they had me redesign the whole thing top to bottom, and it looked a lot better. But and they loved it when they looked at it, the developers and the engineers, but they're engineers, and I was a designer, so I looked at my work and I was like, I like it, but something's off, and it was really in the
Yeah.
typography, and I knew okay, I designed the colors are on point, the branding's on point, but the typography throughout this user interface and this app ecosystem, something's not meshing. And that's what led me to discover Type Thursday and then led me to discover like letter forms and these its whole other world of design. And
Mhm.
it immediately made me feel like I was a better designer every time I got into a room full of creatives and we got to talk and geek out about design and letter forms. And when I reapproached my work, I was like, oh, and I just had a whole new lens to see it by. And I didn't feel lost anymore. So
Mm.
it was something that really served as a guiding force for me. And I didn't think it would apply so much in, UI design. Like, that's something I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't need to know letter forms because I do UI or whatever. It's like, no, there's a lot of typography rules that play throughout those elements too, right? And spacing and yeah, yeah.
I love it. And I love it. And I know that also, in each niche of design, you're coming from a UI perspective, but on each niche of design, if you have that edge of on top of that, being an expert and having that expert eye when it comes to typography, that really gives you, it positions you differently. You are the UA guy that also has an eye for typography. You are the branding expert who also is able to customize logotypes, who is not just using any font, but is also shaping the shape of that logotype, right? So it always gives you that extra level of expertise that differentiates you from the rest.
Absolutely, it does. And there have been times I was talking to a group at an agency when I got the project for Maserati that I got to design on. They picked me because they were like, "You have expertise in typography, and we have not been able to find designers who know typography. We've got them
Oh
at
yeah.
the school, and they're doing stuff, but they don't know the typography well enough, and you see it in their work. And so they're like, we need to hire someone who's got more experience and who knows typography. And is that you? And I was like, yep. Let me tell you about my background. I run Type Thursdays. I do this whole meetup. They loved it, and from day one, we were working with on stuff, and they loved what I was putting out, and they could see the difference between a designer who doesn't know the rules of typography and hasn't put that to work, and someone who has practiced and tried and trial and error, and all through really this community of Type Thursday and us coming together and sharing work all the time and giving each other feedback. So yeah, this is a great opportunity, everybody. I'm super excited. I hope we see you on Monday. Again, drop nods, NODS, in the comments, and I'll send you a link. And you could also tap the link in my bio to be able to sign up for the workshop coming up. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Matteo. And thank you, everybody, for joining today. And I hope to see you on Monday, March 23rd, for the Lettering Design Roadmap Workshop Series.
Woo! Thank you for everybody who joined. Andrea from Type Thursday, our editorial lead, and all the other people I saw in the chat. I think I saw Avery pop in there. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining with us. Martina, thank you for your time. This has been so lovely. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Matteo.
All right, I'll let you go,
Have a
and
beautiful day.
we'll see you on Monday.
Bye bye. See you on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.